On May 15, 2020, the iconic yellow door of J.C.Penney in downtown Dallas swung shut for the last time, its empty storefront a stark reminder that a 118-year-old retail empire had finally succumbed to the relentless tide of modern commerce. Founded in 1902 by James Cash Penney, the modest Golden Rule store in Kemmerer, Wyoming, promised a simple creed: treat others as you would like to be treated. That principle resonated with a nation hungry for reliable, affordable goods, and within a decade Penney's single general store blossomed into a chain of 30 locations across the Southwest. By the 1930s, the company's catalog, delivered to rural homes by rail, had become a lifeline for families during the Great Depression, cementing J.C. Penney's reputation as the people's store. The post-war boom accelerated the brand's ascent. Suburban malls sprouted across America, and Penney's sleek, one-stop shopping layout, complete with expansive apparel departments, home furnishings, and a growing private label line, made it a cornerstone of the new consumer culture. In 1958, the company went public, and its stock price surged as the chain expanded to 1,000 stores by the early 1970s. The familiar J.C. Penney logo, bold, red letters framed by a yellow door, became a symbol of dependable middle-class shopping, and the company's quarterly earnings were a staple of Wall Street reports. Yet beneath the glossy advertisements and bustling sales floors, warning signs began to flicker. The first cracks appeared in the early 1990s, when a wave of discount retailers, Target, Kohl's, and later, fast fashion giants like H&M, started to erode Penney's market share. The company's attempt to modernize under CEO William McMahon in 1995, with a $2.6 billion acquisition of the May department stores, seemed promising, but the integration proved costly and distracted senior leadership from the looming digital revolution. When the internet began reshaping shopping habits in the late 1990s, J.C. Penney's online presence lagged behind. While Amazon was building a marketplace and other department stores were experimenting with e-commerce platforms, Penney's website remained a static catalog with limited functionality. The company's reliance on traditional advertising, billboards, radio spots, and a sprawling network of catalog mailings kept cash flowing to the wrong places. By 2004, sales growth had stalled, and analysts warned that the brand was struggling to find its voice in an increasingly fragmented retail landscape. A pivotal moment arrived in 2011 when CEO Ron Johnson, a former Apple executive, was hired to inject a tech-savvy, experience-first philosophy. Johnson's plan was bold: eliminate the beloved sale culture, introduce everyday low prices, and overhaul the store layout with sleek, minimalist fixtures. He also introduced a new pricing algorithm that automatically adjusted merchandise without clearance tags, a radical departure from Penney's century-old discount model. The rollout, however, was disastrous. Longtime shoppers, accustomed to hunting for coupons and clearance racks, felt alienated. Sales plummeted by 7% in the first quarter of 2012, and the company's stock tumbled from $50 per share to under $30. After a brief, tumultuous tenure, Johnson was ousted in 2013 and the board reinstated the old pricing strategy, attempting to win back lost customers. Yet the damage was done. The brand's identity had become muddled. Loyal patrons doubted the store's reliability, while younger shoppers dismissed it as outdated. Meanwhile, the rise of omnichannel giants, Walmart's aggressive online expansion, Target's sleek app, and the meteoric growth of direct-to-consumer brands further compressed Penney's margins. Financial distress deepened. By 2017, J.C. Penney reported a net loss of $1.4 billion, and its debt load ballooned to $4 billion. The company's attempts to trim costs, closing underperforming stores, renegotiating leases, and slashing inventory, provided only temporary relief. The COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020 accelerated the decline. Mandatory lockdowns forced the remaining brick-and-mortar locations to shutter, and while e-commerce sales rose, they could not compensate for the loss of foot traffic. In March 2020, JCPenney announced it would close an additional 150 stores, a move that sparked a wave of employee layoffs and ignited protests from labor unions. On May 15, 2020, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, listing assets of $2.1 billion and liabilities exceeding $4 billion. The court approved a plan to sell the business to a consortium of mall owners, Simon Property Group, Brookfield Asset Management, and Kohl's, who pledged to keep the brand alive but drastically reduced its footprint. By the end of 2020, the number of operating stores had fallen from 3,000 to just under 800, and the once familiar J.C.Penney sign vanished from dozens of malls across the country. The aftermath of the collapse rippled through the retail ecosystem. Former employees, many of whom had spent decades climbing the corporate ladder, faced uncertain futures, while landlords of struggling malls lost a key anchor tenant, accelerating a broader wave of commercial real estate vacancies. The brand's legacy, however, persisted in unexpected ways. Vintage JCPenney catalogs became collector's items, and a nostalgic resurgence on social media sparked discussions about retro shopping experiences. In 2022, the new owners announced a strategic pivot, a focus on curated boutique formats, limited-time pop-up events, and an aggressive digital overhaul powered by AI-driven inventory management. While the revived stores now occupy a fraction of their former footprint, they aim to blend the historic, yellow door ethos with the convenience of modern e-commerce. The story of JCPenney is a cautionary tale of how a company, once a beacon of American consumer confidence, can falter when it clings too tightly to tradition while failing to adapt swiftly to technological disruption. Subscribe to The Collapse for more stories like this.